Hello, all, and welcome back to my channel. So, today I am reviewing an independent horror thriller film called Trucker, which was released in 2024 and directed by Errol Sack, and it runs for 85 minutes, and it was produced by Breaking Glass Pictures. So let's go ahead and look at the official trailer.
Drop the gun!
Kid keeps babbling on about something. Keeps saying, trucker.
Tell no one about this, you got it? This never happened.
Don't you think it's a little bit weird? We never heard a peep about the truck crash.
I've got to get everything ready to welcome our visitors. Their blood will atone for the sins of those who did this to you.
Need your plan. We're going on a little adventure.
You remember that night? I think the trucker wasn't the only one in the truck.
And you'll all pay for what you've taken from him.
There's only one way it's gonna end.
The hour of retribution is near.
Time to die, trucker.
So, there you have the trailer. So, let's talk about the storyline. So, a trucker's family is killed in a fiery crash caused by a group of reckless teens rescued from the wreckage and nursed back to health by a mysterious old man. The trucker exacts brutal revenge on the teens who destroyed his life. So, the film begins with a man walking along a lonely stretch of road, a bottle of vodka in one hand and a shotgun in the other. When a cop finds him stumbling down the road, it is revealed that something terrifying has happened to him. All he keeps saying is, trucker, trucker. Great way to start the film, where we wonder what this man has gone through or whether he's involved in something nefarious. It's a good dilemma to kickstart the film. Dan and his group of teenage friends end up causing a wreck with a truck in a fiery display, and they think it's funny. Little do they know, an old man witnessed the whole thing. This was an intense scene that really hooked me in. There is no loyalty as they leave one of their friends, Jeff, behind, even though he totally deserved what happened to him. Now the stage is set, and we get to see how this all plays out. So we jump to 1 year later, and we see a missing person's flyer about Jeff's taped to a pole. So we have Vanessa, who was in the car when they crashed the truck. She's returned from her semester at uni, and as she drives there is a mention of a candlelight vigil being held that evening for Jeff. So anyway, she meets up with her not so very nice boyfriend, Mike, and runs into his brother, the troublemaker, Dan. So meanwhile, we get to properly meet old man Levy, and he happens to run a trucking company. And he's using an axe as a walking stick, showing part of his personality. Although we did get a clear taste of it at the crash site at the beginning. So the group are having a party, and Cindy, who is Dan's girlfriend, is back on the scene. We see the man who was at the beginning of the film walking lost and bloody down the road, and he's with his friends at the same party. So we learn his name is Greg. So now the group are all back together, minus Jeff, of course, because he's either a carcass lying about in the desert or someone's moved his body because he's still missing. Vanessa's feeling guilty over what happened about Jeff and the car crash, and she basically has a choice to either shut up or she could go and find out what has happened to Jeff and whether or not he's still alive. So Mike decides to help Vanessa, and Dan isn't happy about it. So then we have another character, Scotty, who joins them as they head to the treetop trucking company that the old man comes from, that he runs, and he's the one that witnessed the whole thing. And we catch a glimpse of someone in an RV on the property, and he certainly doesn't look like a person that I'd want to mess with. So on the way to the trucking company, they pull over at the gas station where we saw them in the first scene. Vanessa has recovered a memory of the truck driver's wife, Lindy, and she's holding a newborn baby in her arms, walking alongside her young daughter, Annabelle. And they climb into the truck, not knowing that this is their last night alive. But the man behind the counter tells them how to get to the trucking company, which is owned by Old Man Levy. So he's the guy behind the counter. He's acting really suspicious, and he basically warns Old Man Levy that there are people that are coming to pay him a visit. So anyway, as they're driving along, they go to the crash site, and then they notice there are four crosses. So this is brought up later in the film, and it actually is very crucial to the film, the four crosses, and who the four crosses are in honor of, I guess. So finally, when they arrive at the trucking company, the place looks like a typical junkyard. They must have spent a few hours searching the place because it turns to dark. So they split up and search for Jeff, which is not a good idea. As everybody knows, you shouldn't split up. So anyway, Mike goes to they find a shack, and Mike goes and has a look. He calls Dan on the phone and tells Dan where he is, and Dan decides to go with his buddies to help look for Jeff as well. So far, the tension, the intensity, and suspense is building really nicely. We get to see who the man in the RV is, and it's a really intriguing situation because it would appear that the old man has been nursing the trucker back to health after his family's demise in the truck crash. He wants revenge. I like that we get to see a flashback scene as to what happened after the crash. As Old Man Levy lies like he's sitting there reminiscing about what's happened. He wants retribution too, because when he rescued the truck driver, he got scarred pretty badly, and so he wants his revenge. And at this point, we still don't know whether or not Jeff is alive, which is adding mystery to the story arc. And we wonder, will they ever find him? Now that everyone's at the trucking company together, the old man does something. He electrifies the fence line, so he's basically trapped them in. So Mike and Vanessa see the trucker, and they run like bats out of hell. Now the race is on to save their lives. So Greg, who we saw in the introduction scene, his foot gets caught in a trap, and he can't get out. Then we see Richard. He's one of Dan's friends, and he has a not so nice run-in with a saw blade. So Old Man Levy is on the loudspeaker provoking the teens. Perhaps Jeff is still alive because we can hear him talking. But then we have to wonder, is it a trap? So Dan has the old man at gunpoint, and at this point, some really startling revelations come to light. Will he lead Dan to Jeff, or is it a cat and mouse game he's playing? So something unexpected happens there that I won't spoil it. And basically, something happens to the old man, let's put it that way. But the trucker is still looking for blood and vengeance, and it's a really devastating situation that these kids have found themselves in. So we finally get a good look at the trucker, and I'm glad that they left it until closer to the end. He's wearing an oxygen mask, so there must be something very wrong with him. So I would say that during the crash, he probably inhaled a lot of smoke. So anyway, he is basically, we know there's something wrong with him besides the fact that he seems to be a psychopath with revenge on his mind. So Dan leaves the others behind in a mad dash to leave the property. But will they be able to get out? Not if the trucker has his way. So Dan and Raina, that's another friend of Dan's, they come upon the destroyed body of Cindy. So basically at this stage, the trucker's ruthless. He's plowing them down, mowing them down here, there, and everywhere, picking them off one by one, basically. And we have to wonder who is going to come out of this alive. And Raina is trying to call for help on the phone, but it's been torn apart. And meanwhile, the trucker wants to get to Greg, who is by this stage clearly drunk off his face on vodka. But even in his inebriated state, he manages to make a good move. So now we come to the ending sequence. I really enjoyed it. The loose ends are tied up, and only a couple of people survive. And so you have to wait and see who are those people that do survive, if any. And there is an emotive scene with a truck driver towards the end. I really enjoyed that. I think it was a poignant way of ending the film. But then if you wait until after the credits, you'll see what happens to Scotty, who managed to sleep through the whole carnage. Anyway, so overall, the scenes of horror are well executed and look authentically gruesome. The storyline is elaborated well, and that it's easy to grasp everything that's going on. The plot is rock solid. The acting was above average, and they took to their roles with dedication, and they have the believability factor. All in all, I enjoyed the wild ride, and although I thought it would be a typical truck driver chases down random people for the thrill of it, this is not the case in this film. It's delivered differently than the usual trucker trope, so I'm really happy with that. The characters are well developed, and even though we don't know their backstories, we don't need to, as we see parts of their personalities as we progress through the film. And even though there are quite a lot of characters, I think the director contained them well enough that the viewer knows where they are, who they are, and what they're doing at any given time. So that was good. I highly recommend this film if you like a cat and mouse game, if you like gore, and a man on a mission to exact revenge upon the thoughtless teens who killed his family. So, yeah, I look forward to more from this director in the future. I did not feel like I wasted 85 minutes of my life. It's great for an indie film. I enjoyed it. It kept me wanting to know what was going to happen, and I'm really thrilled with that. So, so this was released in 2024, and I will put the link down below in the description section of this review. It is free to watch on Plex. So if you follow the link, it will take you to Plex, and then you can watch the film for yourself. Yeah, so it's an enjoyable watch, and give it a go. It's a great indie film. And until next time, stay safe out there and take care, and bye for now.